Welcome to another edition of Breaking News brought to you by Source Selection Soundbites. In this episode, we will examine IT Concepts, Inc., or IT Concepts decided at the JO. The RFQ sought quotations for the provision of an IT solution, including continuing support, hosting, and operations, through software as a service licenses or platform as a service in support of the agency's human resource, HR management. The evaluation factors were technical approach, key personnel, contractor resources, past performance, and adherence to Section 508. The agency published the solicitation as a Statement of Objectives, or SOO. With respect to the technical approach factor, the RFQ directed vendors to describe the extent to which the technical approach is feasible and provides demonstrated benefits to the government in alignment with the requirements. Quotations were limited to 16 pages for this section, including a Performance Work Statement, or PWS, and a Quality Assurance Surveillance Plan, or QASP. Additionally, the agency was to evaluate the extent to which the vendor's PWS and QASP align with the technical approach, achieve the minimum viable product, and comply with the constraints in the SOO. The majority of evaluators assessed IT Concepts a high confidence rating under the technical approach factor, but one evaluator dissented and assessed lower ratings. The CO, who was also the source selection authority, agreed with the assessment of the dissenter. Consequently, the award was given to a competitor. Upon learning of the agency's decision, a protest followed. The protester challenged the agency's assignment of all of the weaknesses identified by the minority evaluator and adopted by the contracting officer, arguing that they were unreasonable or otherwise not in accordance with the RFQ. The agency responded that the weaknesses were reasonably assigned. Moreover, the agency continued, the assessed weaknesses for lack of detail and a lackluster response to the solicitation requirements in several areas were perfectly reasonable. En route to finding against the protester, the GAO examined the weaknesses assessed and decided they were reasonable. For example, GAO noted the following. 1. The protester's quotation under the technical approach factor provided very little detail on deliverables and supporting its conclusions, with excerpts from the quotation that the evaluator found were essentially a cut and paste from the SOO that gave no additional insight into what the proposed solution would deliver. 2. The protester's response did not include a QASP. The most substantive discussion of a QASP in the quotation is the sentence quoted above, which indicated only that the protester intended to use a QASP in coordination with the quality control plan set forth in the quotation. And 3. Given the RFQ's direction to submit a QASP, the fact that the protester's quotation did not include a QASP and only stated a future intention to use one potentially was a deficiency rendering the protester's quotation technically unacceptable. Given these facts, the protest was denied. Now let's address a few of the lessons learned from this protest. They include 1. The response to a SOO requires a PWS and a QASP. 2. The PWS must provide sufficient detail to demonstrate how it aligns with its technical approach to meet SOO objectives. And 3. The QASP has to provide sufficient detail for the agency to understand how success will be measured. In this episode of Source Selection Soundbites, we discuss the IT Concepts case and some of the nuances of responding to a SOO. This concludes today's Source Selection Soundbite. If this video was helpful, hit the like and subscribe button to ensure you don't miss any new material. If you want more details on the subject, they are available on the Source Selection Answer app. It contains lectures, quizzes, court cases, sample documents, and more material that allows practitioners to quickly obtain actionable knowledge. Thanks for watching. See you next time.